In this TechCorner video, I want to talk about sync speed, what it is and how high-speed sync works. Before we can talk about high-speed sync, you first need to know how your shutter works and what sync speed is. Sync speed affects cameras with a focal plane shutter, which is most cameras on the market. If you own a camera with a leaf shutter, high-speed sync does not apply as the camera can sync with flash at any shutter speed. So let's have a look at how a focal plane shutter works. The shutter is made of two curtains, appropriately named first curtain and second curtain, or front and rear curtains. When you take a photo, the first curtain opens to expose the sensor or film, and the second curtain closes to end the exposure. The time it takes from when the first curtain starts to open to when the second curtain fully closes is your shutter speed. Under normal shooting conditions, that is below sync speed, the first curtain will open and the camera will wait for the preset shutter speed before the second curtain shuts. Since the curtains can only move at a set speed, there exists a maximum shutter speed where the second curtain starts to close the moment the first curtain is fully open. That is your camera sync speed. Sync speed varies from camera to camera, so consult your manual if you don't know your camera's sync speed. When you set your shutter speed above sync speed, the second curtain will start to close before the first curtain is fully open. As you increase shutter speed, the second curtain will start to close sooner. Notice how the speed of each curtain remains the same regardless of the shutter speed. Now let's have a quick look at how your flash is triggered. In general, your flash fires when the first curtain is fully open. Looking at our shutter speed animations again, this time with a flash, you can see that no matter what your shutter speed is, the flash fires as the first curtain is fully open. There is a rear curtain sync mode on your camera which does fire the flash differently, but that is a topic for another video. When the first curtain opens and your sensor or film is fully exposed, your flash fires to expose the entire scene before the second curtain closes. This is true all the way up to sync speed. Once you get above sync speed, the flash will still fire when the first curtain is fully open, but this time the second curtain partially closes, blocking some of your exposure. So you end up with the following results. As you can see in these photos, which are illuminated exclusively by flash, as the shutter speed is increased, we see less and less of the image until we reach a point where the entire exposure is black. Some of you might be thinking that at an 800th of a second, we should still be seeing a small sliver of light since you can get a perfectly good exposure with ambient light at that shutter speed. This has to do with how flash works and again is a topic for another video. So how do we overcome this problem? Enter high-speed sync. Provided your flash does support high-speed sync, it will pulse or strobe during the exposure. Since we're talking about shutter speeds above 1/160th of a second, to the eye it still looks like a single flash. However, the strobing effect essentially tries to simulate a constant light for a fraction of a second. The flash will start to pulse at the start of the exposure and continue until the exposure is completed, giving a well-exposed image regardless of shutter speed. So far, this looks like the perfect solution. So what are the downsides of high-speed sync? The first is power loss. The way your flash works is that it stores a certain amount of energy in a capacitor. When you take a photo, all that energy is released into a flash tube to light it up. If you are shooting below sync speed, all that energy can go into a single flash. When you're shooting with high-speed sync, all that stored energy now needs to be split up into several flashes, significantly affecting the overall light output at higher power settings. High-speed sync also increases your flash recycle time. Every time you fire your flash with high-speed sync, more energy is required to pulse the flash for the duration of the exposure. You might have your flash only set to 1/4 power or 1/8 power, but the light might still be using the full capacity to pulse the flash, giving you the correct exposure. If you are using a battery-powered flash, high-speed sync will drain your battery significantly faster because again, it needs to use more power for high-speed sync compared to normal flash. Finally, we have heat. Your flash tube releases a significant amount of heat every time it lights up. Since high-speed sync makes it strobe, the flash tube stays on significantly longer than it would in a single flash. If overused over a short amount of time, high-speed sync will overheat your flash. Most flash these days have a temperature sensor built in that will shut down your flash until it has cooled down, creating an inconvenience if you are in the middle of a shoot and suddenly you need to take a break to wait for your flash to cool down. On the flip side, many older flash units didn't have a temperature sensor built in, resulting in the flash head physically melting after getting too hot. So best to keep an eye on that if you own an older flash. So given all the drawbacks of high-speed sync, should you use it? The purpose of this video is not to convince you one way or the other, but to educate you so you can make an informed decision when the time comes. Some photographers will tell you that since you have it, why would you not use it? High-speed sync is a tool made for a specific task. Just like I own a hammer but I wouldn't use it on all my home improvement projects, high-speed sync has its place, but it's not designed to be used all the time. Personally, I try to avoid high-speed sync whenever possible. However, there are situations where the only way to get the shot is to use high-speed sync. As a photographer, you need to understand what the tools in your photography toolbox do and how they work so you know when to use what and when you need something different. Hopefully, this video has done that for you in regards to high-speed sync. Thanks for watching this TechCorner video. As always, please comment below with any questions. Don't forget to subscribe and press that bell icon so you don't miss out on future videos.